Okay, good times. So the steering wheel was super wobbly. I thought it was the clock spring. I took it off, and surprised it wasn't the clock spring, but I broke the clock spring as a result of the bearing dying. You can see the bearing? That's 3 million turns I made. Finally the bearing went out. So I went for a rebuilt one on eBay. Guy actually is just down the street from me, so I figured, okay, I'm not going to worry about rebuilding it. You can see it's a mess. So I got a rebuilt one and I put it in and it's not working. So I just thought I'd show you this in case you're inclined to deal with this issue. One of the things that is very common is these two bolts come loose. They actually did on mine. And then this gear thing slops. You should be able to reach under and feel if this is sloppy and see if those are out. If you do fix that, do yourself a favor and wear some eye protection so you don't drop any of the tools in your eye. I nearly put my eye out by doing that. That's an easy fix. That isn't my problem. My problem is I shift in with the new part. I shift in the new part, rebuilt. The new part was supposed to have rebuilt front. I guess there's a bearing in the back. Supposedly when this fails, the bearing, it puts a bunch of crap in there. So I just didn't want to take the chance. I didn't want to tear it apart, but it turns out maybe I will be tearing it apart. Oh, notice the notch here. There's a little detent here. That's how you disconnect it. You pull a bolt out, and that's how you set it. Anyways, so I got the new one in and I was like complaining because there's no slop. There's a lot of slop in drive. I don't know how to fix that because I'm looking here and there's no way to stop it from slopping. So maybe it was always sloppy in drive. If someone has any ideas, let me know. But you can see right here that you have this huge space. I don't see anything that would make it click or be more firm. Then you go and, I can do this two hands, with one hand. I don't think I can. I'm gonna try. Okay, there we go. So, when I pull on the shift lever, that's the action that allows you to put your car in park, put your Excursion in park. So here, this thing. I imagine it's supposed to be springy because you can see when the lever's in park. I would have thought it wouldn't be pushing it down, so that it knows you're in park permanently, or until you obviously remove the lever. But it doesn't. It's just a single. It must be an on-off, on-off, on-off. I don't know. Unless I'm getting it wrong, but then, so you can see, here we go to reverse. I'm not telling, it's not firm in reverse. It's not like it locks into a clear reverse, and then it locks into a clear drive, 1, 2, in which case I only have 1, I think. Oh, maybe I do have 2. No, I have 1, because there's 2, here's low, 1 or 2, drive, wobbles, reverse, clicking down to trigger your park mechanism so that you can turn it on and that it goes into, I think when it goes into the park lock mechanism, it must be cable driven, which is going to be off of this. It's going to be off of this, cable driven. This will be what prevents you, I think, from start stop. Could be wrong. Hopefully helpful to see this, but there's lots of videos now. Okay, here's your shifter. There's not any way to fix the slop. It's just a pin. Again, one-handed. Okay. Just a pin. I guess if your thing's all worn out, then it might be loose, but it really doesn't seem to be an issue. And then people say you need to replace these things. I suppose they could be worn out. So I complained to the guy. This is my old part, by the way. The new one's in the truck. I complained to the guy that rebuilt it. I'm like, hey, I thought about a rebuilt one. It's all sloppy in drive. It doesn't go into park. It doesn't lock engage in park. And he's like, well, pop off. Reach under, pop this off, and see if it changes that going into park locking mechanism. Well, it won't lock, but going into park to turn on the vehicle. If it does, then your cable is binding somewhere. Maybe you need to replace the cable. I don't think my cable's binding, quite honestly. So he sends me a new part. And you can see here's what a new part would look like. You got your new things. These are interesting. I mean, I imagine they take a really long time to wear out. But I guess you could feel if there's any looseness, you'd be able to feel, or you could take it out and clean them, maybe even lube it. I don't know. And then, of course, here's the 2 screws that are famous for coming loose. You're hooking on. This goes to your gear selector cable. This goes to your tranny, I think, for shifting. Just for fun, here's where your shifter is going to go, right about, or your blinkers right about here, and your clock spring would go there on your wheel on top. You see how this just screws in and out. There's your ignition switch. There's a little button you push to pull it out. Thing worth seeing underneath. You will be connecting on the driver's side here. So this unscrews. There's one screw, and then you disconnect it to remove your thing. You're removing this whole thing. And obviously there's for the switch. There's a wire. The wires are fairly self-explanatory if you're careful about taking it apart. I actually put duct tape. After I put the bolt through, I put duct tape around it because I didn't ever want to have that feeling that you probably only get one time when the vehicle stops responding to the steering wheel. Okay, so let's go look at the truck real quick. So you can drop the steering wheel with 4 bolts like this and not do a lot of tear down. Like, I haven't disconnected anything. I did disconnect the batteries last night because I didn't want this to be charged, so that it might go off on my lap. Although I don't know how it would, but I did. It's been off. Okay, so I'm looking for why it might not really go into park well, and I think it's hard. I don't think you're gonna see anything. Who knows? Maybe it's better with this. I think this is not springing back up. Or the switch is bad. Oh, jeez. Why would it be bad, though? Because it could be bad. Because it starts in park. Or starts in neutral. Maybe the whole switch is bad. And the slop in drive is just the slop in drive, unless somebody else tells me. I'm going to go with the switch is bad, because there's no other way. Well, the switch is bad or the cable's jammed. I think the switch is bad. Because the cable jamming would prevent it from going into park altogether. There'd be some binding, I would think, tension. It would prevent you from getting into it. And that's not the case. So I think it's the switch or the mechanism for the switch. Maybe it's probably not new, or it's not springing up. That's a lot. That's stopping me from going into park. So can I get it down a hair more? I think I can. I think I can get it down more without taking it apart. Maybe pulling the seat back or out, so I can get another 3 inches, so I can get these out. There's 2, 1, 2, 3. Get those out so I can replace that switch. That's my trick. Anyways, Hopefully that helps you